so we got some more Star Wars Battlefront 3 footage, and this appears to be footage from a tutorial level, kind of explaining how to pull off mission objectives. Um, they involved, space battles, and the game looks. I mean, it is. It was going to be released in 2008, or at least that's when when this build was from, or the video was recorded in anyway. But it's interesting that they had, this definitely had the old system of playing Battlefront. The new Battlefront game does not really play like the old Battlefront.
No, not at all.
Um, Not saying that it's not fun, it just doesn't really play like those old ones, and this definitely feels like it was going to be, the definitely a 3, not like a reboot for the franchise like this new one has been. But yeah, what did you think of the possibility that we almost had a Battlefront 3 on last gen systems?
I would have much preferred it.
Preferred it?
Prefer it.
Preferred or
I would have
if you had to choose between them.
absolutely. I would have taken one from last generation than this one because, as I've said multiple times, I don't like this one. I don't think there's enough content in it to honestly make it a game.
I'd be okay with it if they
Or
had a campaign. That's all.
yes,
Single player campaign.
it's literally just, hey, here's a multiplayer game, and there were like 4 maps, and there's like, I don't know,
Well,
6
I mean,
guns that you could choose from.
there were 4 different locations, but different maps on those locations. Like you had multiple Hoth levels, multiple Moon of Endor levels.
I don't think it should have been sold at $60.
Mm-hmm. But that's modern game design, right? You design half the game for the disc and the other half for all the DLC, right? And let's go down this rabbit trail for a bit, because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, we used to get things, or at least PC gamers used to get things called expansion packs, which was always content that was completely conceived of and developed after the initial game launched. And it usually took like a year or longer to get out to you. And they might do 1 or 2 expansions per game, and they were always they always added a lot to it, and they were, priced pretty, $20 for an expansion to your game, but they were worth it. Now what do? We don't get complete games when you pay $60 for them. You get you get some of it, maybe around half, and then everything else is, planned in a board meeting somewhere, like, oh, what are we going to put on the disc, and then what are we going to force you to download and take up space on your hard drive with? It's like, even when it's free DLC, it still bugs me that you have to, download these huge patches to get them. It's like, I don't have an infinite amount of space on my hard drive. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, and I know that for consoles, you can go out and you can buy terabytes of storage to plug into your console.
Or you can add just an additional, external drive and plug it in through USB and play off there too.
Yeah. I don't have the money for that.
Especially when you have these games that launch at $60 and then it's additional $50 to get the season pass.
My goodness, what game are you getting where it's $50 for a season pass?
They've gone to that point. Yes. I remember for Assassin's Creed 3, I got the season pass and it was $30. And if you bought the DLC all separately, it would have been $40. And that was a deal, right? Because I was like, well, I want all the DLC for this game.
Yeah.
Because it's like the expansion pack model, right? It's the stuff that's not essential for the game. Although they did that in Revelations, but I talked about that in another podcast you weren't here for, about Revelations having this major plot point in the DLC, nowhere else. Um, so that gets annoying. But yeah, lately they've been $50. I want to say the Battlefront one might have been $50. Now you hate it more.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yes. So $110, $120 after tax, and you may not have the hard drive space for it. I'm not trying to sound too entitled here, but this has gotten really ridiculous at this
That's
point.
literally like the same amount that you could spend on like a special edition copy of like these amazing games that are coming out, like The Last Guardian,
Mm-hmm.
the like special edition is like $110, $120, but it comes with all this cool stuff. We already know the game is going to be amazing and beautiful if it would just come out. And then, well, Xenoverse 2,
Yeah,
uh,
Dragon Ball
they've got
Z.
their own thing. I don't
Yep.
necessarily know if that's worth $110. That's just me. But, like, it's something.
Yeah. Yeah, you get something tangible with it too. Um, so this, yeah, getting back onto what this prototype was like. This seemed like it was. See, what I don't think we should have had to choose between them. I don't see why Battlefront 3 couldn't have been released in like 2009, 2010 even. But this wasn't even a title that was affected by Lucas selling the rights of Star Wars to Disney. There were some titles that got affected by that. That one that was just numbers, but a lot of people were interested. It was like 353 or 949, or it was something weird with the title. But yeah, not there was a trailer released for it, and that was it. And then Lucas sold the rights, and we didn't hear anything else. Force Unleashed. I want a third Force Unleashed game. I don't know that we'll ever get that now, because Disney does weird things with their video game decisions. But this wasn't affected by that. This seems to have been canceled long before the rights were sold. Why couldn't we have had this? It seems like it was pretty fairly close to being done.
I don't know. I don't know. But now I have more reason to,
To dislike the current
dislike this, yeah.
Battlefront.
Which I hate that I hate this because Battlefront 2 was probably like one of the more fun games that I played with like split screen.
Mm-hmm.
Because like nowadays there's not a lot of games where like you can just go out and like you can play like two people on a screen or four people on a screen, which is like a really fun thing you could do. And Battlefront 2, like I remember doing that with like me, my brother, and our two friends. Like we would do that just for hours, just play Battlefront 2.
I think the developers just got really whiny and they were like, no, we'll have to lower the frame rate, or no, we'll have to lower the resolution. You don't want that, do you? If it means I can play split screen, yes. I don't care about that at that point. I'm just having fun. But what do we know, Matt?
Yeah, we're
We're
just
not
the consumer
developers.
who knows what we want,
Apparently, we want to spend more money on unnecessary things.
I will say this. I have heard good things about the next Battlefront that they're working on. There will be a campaign, they have said.
Don't care.
You don't care?
Don't care unless I see. I will have to watch this game. Like normally, I'll just like watch walkthroughs of games that I know like I can't afford at the time, but I really want to play them. I'm gonna have to just watch this just to make sure that they didn't mess this one up.
Yeah. Are you talking about the new one, the next one that comes out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not pre-ordering it by any stretch. I'm just saying it seems like it's going to be a lot better, but being someone who doesn't see the point in PlayStation Plus just to play online, there's a lot of P's in that sentence I just said. But being that person, I don't see the need to get a game like Battlefront, or even as good as it is, Overwatch, because I don't really play those kinds of games. You have to do something for me.